Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything happening right now in gaming. After all the events that's transpired in these last 2 weeks, I think that we can all agree that Nintendo just could not have had worse timing on trying to drop the Switch 2 console. I mean, it's like watching somebody play a Mario RPG title and purposely miss all the A and B button cues on purpose. Like, it's that bad. The company chose the worst time to go hiking during this snowstorm of taxes on imports, but it seems that Nintendo has Bowser-sized Timberland boots on right now, because they're doing what they can to weather this snowstorm and go through it, as they're trying to take advantage of what seems to be a pause on the aforementioned tariffs on Vietnam, which is the main place that they allegedly manufactured the first few batches of the Switch 2 consoles, to which Nintendo earlier today, they went to the website to add a section for players to register their interest to buy a Switch 2 directly from Nintendo themselves whenever they finally decide to ship this thing out. Now again, with these export and import taxes, everything is still loosely up in the air, but for the most part, since that pause on the Vietnam tariffs for the least part, following all that, there's been some recent reports of Nintendo taking their current Switch 2 stockpile in different countries and shipping them as fast as they can over to the United States so that the day one sales can meet the demand that the console will undoubtedly have. And since the Switch 2 pre-orders for United States and Canada has been postponed and still is postponed, they decided to just allow you to register your interest to buy it at the Nintendo store, to which you can just choose if you want to buy the console or the console bundle with Mario Kart World, and then get an email of your invitation to join the cult party of being the first to pay $80 for a video game. But apparently those invitations are only going to start going out on May 8th, 2025, which is a month from the June 5th, I believe, planned release of the Switch 2 console. But we're going to get into all that, and as you can see, I submitted my registration today just because I could. But even though in this moment still I'm not exactly sure if I want to get the console this soon, I still might not be able to get it based on the guidelines they have to be able to get the invite on the first come first served basis. Because if you look at the top of the page where all this small text is at, basically where all the real information is, acting like those medication commercials that talk fast as hell towards the end of it with all the fatal side effects, the invitation will be valid for 72 hours and served on a first come first served basis. But if you have a Nintendo Switch online membership account for at least 12 months before you click that button on the bottom of the screen and 50 total hours of gameplay, well, I guess by April 2nd, 2025, then you would get the opportunity to pre-order this console first, which I think it's fair, because most of the people that's even interested in having this console in the first year is the diehard people that have had the freaking Switch online membership for 12 plus months now, and the freaking expansion pack membership as well. And as you can see, I'm signed in here, but I don't even have Nintendo Switch Online. I haven't even had a consecutive membership literally since I've had the console, because I don't really care to play multiplayer games on my Switch. But even though they sent this email to me early as hell today, and I was probably among like the first couple thousand people to do the registration, I'm still probably going to be last when it comes to who's going to be able to get the invitation first, just because, like I said, they have priority with the Switch Online members. And 50 hours of gameplay, I mean, that's easy to get no matter who you are. You just play Tears of the Kingdom and you'll get that easy. You'll get so lost in that damn game. Luckily though, the prices are the same. I opted just for shits and giggles to get the $4.99 Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World bundle, just because, you know, who the hell's going to get a Switch 2 console and not get Mario Kart World, with the latter is paying $4.49 and then $80 for this damn game. Like, if I do decide to get this console, this is the only way I'd get it. And then some more important information includes the full payment being needed at the time of the checkout, which I believe differs at least with the Switch 1 pre-order, how that worked out, where, you know, when you pre-ordered from Nintendo's website, you only need the money when they shipped the console. And I think that was probably the method that they were going with the Switch 2 originally, before, you know, everything spiraled out of control. But obviously they're trying to get rid of the stock that they have for as low as the price that they can, just because if they do get subject to the tariffs and the price of the console goes up in the next year, which would be a complete shitstorm, they're trying their best with this, I'd hope, which is why they need the full 500 bones at the time you decide to pre-order this thing when you get your invitation. It's going to be shipped directly to you. You can't pick it up anywhere, and the orders will be shipped directly after the purchase. So maybe it'll be ahead of the June 5th release, as far as like when players in the United States and Canada will be able to get it. Maybe, I don't know. At this point, it doesn't really make a difference, because May 8th is, like I said, a month before the planned June release of the Switch 2 console. So even if it is like a day earlier, I'm sure people are just going to be more happy with that. But yeah, as of right now, this isn't the sole way to get a Switch 2 console, but this is obviously Nintendo's way of trying to take advantage of the stock that they do have at that less tariff-induced price tag and try to get it to as many fans as possible and, you know, keep their investors happy, then their whole company, and then the fans. That's where they fall in the whole freaking food chain. And then slightly strafing right to a new topic like WASD keys, former PlayStation boss Shawn Layden, who held various leading roles in the Sony company from around 2010 to 2019, recently went on the Player Driven podcast YouTube channel to share some overall gems in the whole landscape of gaming and what it is and what it means to make a really good game and what's missing, which I do think you guys should check this out. I'll link this below. But given the current discourse of the Switch 2 price tag and the sticker shock of Mario Kart being $80, he said some things that's obviously making rounds on the internet right now, at least, which is a perspective on the current price tag that invokes just a gut reaction, rage bait feeling. But at the same time, I still believe that factors of it is true, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Now, he claimed that when it comes to $80 from Mario Kart World, if it's theoretically the only place you can play Mario or any of these first-party IPs that Nintendo has like Donkey Kong or Zelda, that exclusivity plays another big role in just mitigating that price tag and justifying it for a lot of players that he believes will see success in this current model, even though it is still crazy. Now, before I deep dive into the whole world of exclusive games, I want to deep dive into Mario Kart World, because this, as of right now, is the only game that I know of is $80 that isn't some stupid premium version that comes with virtual coins. Because from what we know of the game right now, I don't believe that Mario Kart is worth that $80 just as a game. Like, I'm not taking any of the exclusive or any of the whole Nintendo history, all that stuff. I'm not taking that into consideration. I'm taking what the game is and what I see on the screen, what I saw based on that Treehouse live stream. I don't think $80 justifies this price tag, you know, for just a standalone game itself. To me, being one of the first games or even the first game to push the boundaries on what's already a full price title should be a game that pushes boundaries on gaming itself. Like, it should be a revolutionary title having core gameplay mechanics that we haven't seen either at all or being pushed in the sense of just like it's something new to maybe that franchise that makes it so much better. Of course, though, that's my preface when it comes to justifying a theoretical $80 game. To some players, maybe they'll go with the whole logic that they'll be playing it for a long ass time since they played Mario Kart 8 for over a decade. So they're definitely playing this game maybe even longer than that. So I guess that is a way to justify the game for some players, which I can understand Nintendo's way of thinking that way. But I just think it should be the longevity of what you get out of playing the game for a long time and just the core gameplay itself. It should be something that is just pushing the boundaries of what we know of gaming. Now, if Mario Kart World does decide to have every DLC, you know, course or racers or all that, you know, stuff they push later in the Mario Kart 8 game, if they make all that free going forward, then I'll be more susceptible to, you know, understanding the price tag at that point, because from what we saw from Mario Kart 8, they supported the shit out of this game, freaking branding it to basically a whole new experience after 10 years from the Mario Kart Wii U version. So if that's the case, then I'll understand that. Now, when it comes to exclusive games themselves and being worthy of this tax of just higher prices, in this case, pushing full price game prices, I understand it. When it comes down to it, most players have even bought the Switch console itself just to play a Mario, a Zelda, rather than any third-party game on there. So in this day and age where every other console company and publisher and game developer are doing their hardest to make sure that the gaming experience is, you know, transversal as possible, being able to play your games basically anywhere that you have a screen, that does add value to games that you only can play on one concrete place. But Nintendo, they know this. They're playing off of this because they know that their diehard fan base will buy the games at whatever price that they charge it as. And even casual players, eventually, after players get tired of the Switch 1 or the Switch OLED and playing Mario Kart 8 and just see all the gameplay footage that comes out for Mario Kart World later on, they're gonna eventually likely cave into having this console, even if it's waiting for like a deal or something. So they're eventually going to get the console and get the new games because this is the only place that you can play the Switch games. But as far as what Layden says here about mitigating the sticker shock or making it feel less worse for that gut reaction, I don't believe it mitigates the price, meaning like it makes you feel better, like, oh, this is a Mario game, so of course it should be $80. Like, I don't think that's, I don't agree with that. I just think, like I said, that exclusivity will open a lot of players' eyes as to why Nintendo feels partly comfortable to charge these prices, and why they know pretty much for a fact that it's going to succeed on some level and then become the standard, and then, you know, the next 5 years they'll do the shit all over again because they know they can do it for their exclusive titles and just, you know, what they have. And then finally for today, the gaming market research team of Newzoo recently put out this PDF file showing all the reports based on the last year in gaming and just the trends that they see will be going on for the next foreseeable future. Now, this is a YouTube video and not a board meeting, so I'm not going to go through this entire freaking slideshow, but on slide 13, they show a pretty interesting piece of PC gaming market research that I found just hilarious. Now, if we move this Tony Hawk Pro Skater gameplay here, you'll see that of the 2024 revenues based on PC gaming, over half of what was made last year, being $37 billion, $24.4 billion was from microtransactions, which is 1.4% year-on-year growth from last year. Now, when it comes to PC gaming and why there isn't that many sales on this platform particularly, I mean, it's pretty obvious, no, not to shoot the elephant in the room, but on PC, you just have that much more exposure to pirating and all these different methods of getting games for free. Or hell, I find that PC games usually have much more sales and just finding games for way less under their initial retail pricing, whether it's through getting game keys or just having those Steam sales all the time or GOG sales. Like, you'll find games going for insane prices on the PC market all the time. So while this here doesn't surprise me, this here just is funny as hell to me, because it just shows that the whole landscape of gaming is being just dog walked by these microtransactions on either free games or even paid games. For me, it's just mind-boggling to know that there's players that have spent hundreds of dollars so far on Marvel Rivals, that free I think 6v6 or 8v8 online hero shooter, just on skins and whatnot. And don't even get me started on the players that have been playing Fortnite since 2017 that have probably spent so much money on those freaking skins over the years that if they took all that money and put it in a savings account, they could probably buy a house right now in this fucked up economy. And even here for the console revenue, 32%, which is almost $14 billion, was taken up by microtransactions of the whole over $14 billion of profit. So man, I just think it's a really interesting time for gaming as far as these microtransactions goes, which I don't think is ever going to slow down ever at this point. Like, it's so much embedded within what gaming is, just having free games and then charging for the skins, which, I mean, it's not really hurting anybody as far as the game goes, as long as the game is good, but it's kind of an undeniable factor as to why big budget titles don't have that much innovation anymore, as it's more easy for them to just go with what they know will work decently and then just charge you for just other tidbits of freaking content. Either way, that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.